Hello, YouTube. So, today we're going to be talking about my college experience as an autistic adult. Now, I like to make a joke that I've been in college for forever. I am older than I look, and I have been attending college since 2018, on and off. And I have had one of the strangest experiences with college, and things that have nothing to do with being autistic, and things that have everything to do with being autistic. So, we're going to explore that today. I do want to go on and give you guys a warning. A lot of this is going to sound very sad. It's going to sound like it was very hard for me, which it was. And a lot of it is going to be, I didn't have a lot of fun in college. I did, but then I didn't. And all of that is really complex. And so we're going to be talking about that. I don't want you guys to think, oh my God, Aniva, that's so horrible. You guys can have sympathy, but I promise I have gotten over a lot of it. I've processed a lot of it. And the reason I'm making this video is so that parents of autistic children and young adults can see this and kind of have an idea of what their autistic child might go through at college, and why it's not just something simple like, okay, you're graduating high school, the next step is college, and then you need to get a professional job. I'm going to talk about my experiences today, and hopefully this is very comforting. I'm going to try to keep it as organized as possible. I do have my iPad with my notes, so hopefully it'll go well. I'm sure there's someone out there that was like, oh, college was a breeze, super easy. But for me, it was very hard, and for unique reasons that probably no one else has ever mentioned. So I'm going to talk to you guys about this today. And my goal is, one, for parents of autistic children and young adults to understand the complexities and painfulness that college can be, can have, the complexities and difficulties, and to also know that going from high school to college can be more of a challenge than it is for most people. It can be very scary before you go, it can be scary once you're accepted, and once you're going to classes every day, it is scary pretty much the entire time for some of us. So I'm just going to talk to you guys about it. I do have it somewhat organized. This is one of my more formal videos, and I have not done a formal video in a very long time, as you guys know, but I have freed up a lot of time and energy and space for myself so that I can record more YouTube videos. So I'm very excited, and let's get started. So one of the really big issues I had with college was financial aid. This was one of the largest challenges of going to college, and I'm going to explain to you why. Let's forget all about the money. Let's forget about it costs money to go to college. You have to fill out the FAFSA, and you have to get free federal aid if you can, and grants and scholarships. Forget that. Let's talk about the social aspect of financial aid. I have had to fill out everything by myself since I was 18. Talked to the advisors many times, more times than I saw any of my other classmates doing it. I needed help, and I did not get that help. It was very hard. I just remember crying all the time because I got kicked out of my classes every semester. Every semester that I attended at my community college, I was kicked out of my classes. Every semester. I didn't understand the ins and outs. The signatures, the documents, the W-2s. They don't tell you about that in high school. And a lot of people that could have helped me did not help me during this process. So I did all that on my own. I have created such an independence in myself because of everything I've had to do on my own, which sucks because it gives me an even worse internalized ableism situation inside of myself. It's not good, and if you can support your children, you should. And that's just 100%. Neglecting to help someone isn't always going to make them stronger. It's not always going to make them more independent. Sometimes it just destroys them. That's how stressful it was. So I was very nervous going to class. This is something that I feel like a lot of autistic people are going to be able to relate to. Forget the financial aid thing. This is far more common. If I was not one of the first people to get there, sometimes I would skip class because I could not handle being looked at as I'm walking past everyone trying to find a seat. I would just not go to class. This wasn't so bad in community college because there was like 15 people in a class. I loved community college. It was my favorite, except for getting kicked out of classes. It was my favorite experience because, one, you have a variety of people, different ages, people at different stages of life. And I've talked about it before, but I'm better able to communicate with people that are much older than me. One of my classmates was 40, one of my classmates was 60. You get to have deeper and more meaningful relationships with those people. They're not talking about who's dating who, whatever. No one, I don't care about that. They're not talking about that. They're talking about the good things that are happening in their life and the grandchildren and the things that make them happy, things that they've learned and struggles that they're having, but are being positive about. And that's what I loved about community college. And one of the things that I'll always carry with me was that every single person that was at that college that was over the age of 25 that was with me told me that it's never too late to start. It's never too late to pick back up where you left off. And that is how I am coping so well with what I'm doing, having to almost start over completely, not credit wise, but mentally with a new beginning and being a completely different person than who I was when I was 18. I'm a completely different person, and in a good way. The next difficulty I had was with people being around my own age and masking. When I'm around someone that's near my age group, it's always been like this. When I was 12, it was like this. Nothing has changed. If I'm around another 25, 26, 23-year old, I start masking instantly. Why do I do that? Right? Like, people are going to be like, oh, Aniva, you should be so comfortable around people your age. No, it's the opposite. Because I'm not like them and they can tell how different I am from them because I'm one of them on the outside. They can tell the disparities between normalcy and whatever I am to them. She's not one of us. Something's not right. And so what do? I start masking. My dialect changes, my posture changes. Like, literally, probably everything about me, including the things that I would talk about, change. And it's so bad. It is an automatic safety mechanism. I don't know if I'm going to be able to change it anytime soon because my other option is to just stay away from people. And that's one of my favorite things to do. It's one of my favorite solutions. I've talked about it here. I talked about it on stream. I've talked about it in my TikToks. Like, I'm just going to stay away from people because it's too much. The thinking that goes into assimilation is so much thinking that I'd rather just not do it, especially in situations where it's not going to work anyway. So I'm either going to have to be myself, I'm going to have to stay away, or I'm going to have to mask. And those are my three options that I give myself. Okay, and then I had this next one. This one's actually pretty cool. I had a huge issue with this at university because there were so many more people there. We're talking minimum 25. I had one class that had like 15 or 20 people in it, but that was just one class in all the years that I was there, in the couple years that I was there. You know, you might have 50 people in a class. I've heard some people have like 100 or whatever, I don't know, auditorium full of people in class. I don't like that. We had in this one class like this table that was attached and then chairs that are like, you know, in the ground, but everyone has the same table. Well, I can't stop shaking. I am always shaking, moving in some sort of way. I am vibrating or twitching or something. I'm always moving in some sort of way. And the thing about it is that even if I have a fidget toy, I'm still not able to stop moving. Like, my entire body could be shaking. And everyone can feel it. And I'm like, oh my God, I gotta, like, and then sometimes I would feel like I'm going insane because I have to sit still for so long. It's so bad. But that was a really hard part. Now, at community college, I was sitting in like a standard desk, like an actual standalone desk. I could literally put my legs crisscross applesauce and shake my wrist like this if I wanted to. So it kind of, I don't know. I feel like an advocate for community college. I just wish all colleges were like that. I don't know. I would take alternate routes no matter where I went. I love calling it university. It makes it sound like I'm not American when I say it. At university, when I would go to the Starbucks, because they shut down the one Starbucks I would go to that no one else would really go to, or at least not nearly as many people would go to. They shut it down, which pissed me off to the high heavens, and so I had to go to the one that was in the massive dining hall that also holds, it literally holds everything. It is the social building. It's where you go to socialize. All the restaurants are in there. Hated going in there. Instead of going through where everyone else goes through and you walk through and then you go upstairs to Starbucks, I would circumvent the entire building. Excuse me, not circumvent. I mean, I would circumnavigate. I would go around the perimeter of the building. I would literally just go outside. I would walk outside and avoid all the social areas and then cut across and go straight into the Starbucks and then walk straight back out onto the road because I didn't want to be around anyone. Like, yes, like some people, like I think neurotypical people have days where they're like, God, I don't want to walk into this person. I don't want to see this person. I don't feel like talking today. So they take the long way, at least the way that I am, the type of autistic person that I am, that I don't want to socialize. I don't like crowds. I want to be alone, left alone basically. Even though I am very like if someone walked up to me, I'm not going to be like get away from me. But I do love people, but I love them from a certain distance. And so it was very hard to just walk through that. And like people would do it for fun. People would be like, I wonder who's in this social area. I wonder if blah blah blah's in here. Or like texting their friends like, hey, you want to meet up here? And like that makes me want to puke. I remember going to a football game. We sat in the student section and I was like, I remember thinking, why would anyone willingly sit here? Because it was so crowded. And like I'm thinking about it again and I'm like, if someone else is touching my shoulders, I don't want to be there. My next point is that for me, college was not about socializing. College was, and for a lot of other students, autistic or not, was an expectation. Now, I'm going back to college now because it's something I really want for myself. And I'm very excited this time around. But it was something that was just expected because I've always been told. Like my parents are both they both had master's degrees. In my entire family lineage, they were teachers, like educators, and other things. They all went to college. So it was just something in my family that's expected. So I went to college because that was what was expected. I didn't go to the college that I wanted to. I went for the cheapest, most convenient college and had a horrible time. It wasn't that bad, but then, like, it actually was because why was my mental health getting destroyed? You know how, like, people will be like, you just don't know what you're gonna get. I don't know what's gonna happen today. And that's kind of the exciting part. I knew exactly what was going to happen every day. I knew it. I knew I was going to wake up. I was going to have this urge to puke because of the anxiety. And then I was going to start having hand tremors. I was going to get my stuff together and think, oh my God, I forgot an assignment. And then I'm going to pack up my stuff, get in my car, go the regular speed down the interstate. And then I'm going to try to find a parking space. I know it's going to take me 25 minutes to park and walk. I'm going to get into class, and there's going to be 30 people in there, and they're all going to look at me because I'm coming in late. What does this look like? What did I wear? Is this too much? Is this not enough? Do I look ugly? Do I look like I just woke up and felt like I was going to throw up this morning? Okay, and then I'm gonna go to class and I'm gonna try to go to Starbucks because that's what I do every day because that's the only part of my consistent routine that actually brings me joy in college. And I'm gonna go to work after. And it's like all this stuff, like I know exactly what's gonna happen. I know the anxiety I'm gonna have. I know what's gonna raise that anxiety. I don't know if you can tell. I am highly optimistic, but I'm also very good at knowing myself. And so I know what's going to trigger me. And I'm telling you, college is highly triggering. Or at least that college was. A lot of my college experiences were highly triggering. But for other people who went to college, they wanted to make friends, they wanted to date, they wanted to hang out. That was never my primary focus. My primary focus was going to college, making sure I'm taking the right classes, and graduating. But then also me not being able to grasp the idea and importance of friendship and communication and relationships with other people, which has been measured by my diagnostic person, the person who diagnosed me. Sorry, I wrote it in my report that I don't completely grasp relationships. I don't completely understand them. And so that's, I think, why I went into college and I just kind of was like, oh, I didn't know anyone else was making friends. You kind of meet someone and they're like, oh, you should hang out with our friend group. I was like, you have a friend group? I don't have a friend group. I did. I did at one point, but that was because of like sports and stuff. I didn't know that people were forming these relationships. It was kind of like I didn't get that memo that I was supposed to be making friends. For neurotypical people, making friends is a natural part of their maturing and growth and stuff. For me, it doesn't feel necessary. Even though I still like to make friends and I love being like connected to people on a deep level, not on a superficial level. That's just been my experience. I will tell a funny story. I went to my prior school recently and I walked on campus, and these two guys were walking towards me. I was getting out my car. They looked at me, and immediately, because I lost my coordination, because I haven't communicated with anyone my age in 3 years, I stepped into dirt. I stepped into mud, but it was like the mud that they plant trees with. I stepped into a hole filled with mud, and then they looked away because they were embarrassed. And it was awkward. And I told my mom, she was with me. I was like, Mom, it has been 3 seconds and I cannot function. I just can't. And it's been so, oh my God. I just, like, I don't know how to communicate with people my age on a deep level. If there's someone my age that works at a restaurant, I can talk to them just fine. Like, hey, how are you? Yeah, I want to get sweet tea. But if it's like the next thing I'll ask them is like, so what do you want to do with your life? And they're like, who asked that question? And then what do I do? I don't know what to say. It is quite literally just like those parents who I'm basically like a parent to other people my age, but not like I parent them, but just like how parents seem out of touch. Like it's basically that's what I'm like, because I'll ask them like a deep question like, what are you struggling with right now? And they're like, you're supposed to be asking me if I want to get high. But even that's not true. But like I don't know. Like I don't know what people my age like. I wish that I was joking. I can't even joke about it because I don't know. People my age get tired of being holed up all day. They want to go out and do something fun. And I don't feel the need to do that. I don't mind doing it at all, but it's never been a craving I've had. So that's very difficult for me to cope with, to understand, to grasp. I'm coping with it well. Now, as far as the painful parts of college, and this is just gonna be just my honest opinions on it. I have been bullied. The jobs that I had were hard because I was around people my age. People my age can tell that I'm different, and instead of I don't know celebrating that or whatever, not that they have to, but just like they chose instead to target me and hurt me, and you don't know why, and you don't pick up on certain things, so you think that they like you, but they really don't. And I just remember like I told some of my coworkers about like how I got treated, and they were like, "Oh, they were just jealous." And I was like, no. Like I can see when I look at myself why someone could mistreat me because they were jealous. In a lot of these situations, it's not that. It is because they're insecure. It is because they're unhappy. It is because they get a joy or rise out of someone. It is because it satisfies them when they mistreat someone. And yeah, it could be a little bit of jealousy. But for the most part, it's just because they see you as someone that they can do things to and get away with it, and it makes them feel better about themselves temporarily. You get to a point, like, because it's been so many years, I've learned so much, I've talked to so many people, and because I have been loved so much more than I have been hurt in my life, just in the past 3 years or so, maybe definitely more than that. I've been loved for a very long time by a lot of people, including you guys. That I see now that I would handle those things differently. And that's why I say I'm such a different person than who I was years ago when I was 18, because I see things differently now. I'm able to put things into perspective. I've had to learn that not every autistic person is a good person automatically, and that really sucks. And if you have an autistic child, there's a good chance that they will get mistreated, and that is something that I feel like if I had children, I would have to prepare them for if they are like me. There's a certain level of self-esteem that you have to have, that for me was only able to be built up after being broken down so many times. You hate that you feel like you have to go through so much. I am better for it. Now I can actually do what I want. Like, okay, when I say that, like, I do things that I want because I realized that my worth was not something that other people held. It was not something that wasn't something, it's not something that someone can tear down anymore. It just so happens that I like if I can't sit still and someone says something like, well, why can't you sit still? I'm just gonna tell them like I just can't sit still. Nothing else to it. That's it. Like that's the whole thing. That's everything that you need to know. Why aren't you paying attention in class? It's very hard for me to do that. I have a neurological difference in my brain, and there's nothing that I can do about it. And if someone says, if you eat more, I don't know, celery and beet juice, you won't have autism anymore. Oh, that's cool. The end. I'm not going to argue with you about that. So it just gets to a point where you start to like yourself. That's it. So I'm going back to college, and I'm not going to fit in with everyone. I'm not going to the same college. I don't know. I mean, I do know. I'm a very spiritual person, just outside of religion, just a very spiritual person. I love to meditate. I have a bunch of rocks. We call them rocks. I love attracting good things to myself. I am very spiritual. Good things have been happening, and I want to give those good things to other people. That's really all that I know right now, and that's all that I want to do is focus on good things. Focus on liking myself after being told so many times through people's actions and their words that I should not like myself, and helping other people start to like themselves. So glad that you guys are here. I'm so happy that you guys are here. I am starting to feel strong again. I did not used to feel strong, but that's what my college experience has been like. And I'm so excited to keep studying. I am a psychology major and I love psychology. It's my special interest and I love pushing myself to learn more about it. Not just the way that people think. I want to know about the history of it. I want to make sure that I'm seeing things from a different perspective. I love being pushed to see things from a different perspective. Psychology. I love it. And this wasn't like a super organized video, but I do have some positives. I know what I want, and I wrote that on here. I know what I want, and I want it for myself. Not just because on paper it looks good or because it whatever, but I know what I want. And if you don't want college, that means that you know what you want and you want something else. So you go get something else. Of course, make sure that it's practical enough for you to survive, but make sure that you're happy. I'll keep you guys updated on my college experience, but I'm very excited. Thank you guys so much for being here. I think this is our 4th year. Like, I think this will be our 4th year of doing YouTube together, of me being diagnosed 2021. Thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you guys in the next video. If you guys want to keep up with me, you can follow me on Instagram and TikTok. But my link tree has all of my links. You guys already know I have to do my length check. Thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.